Hey guys, Clay Edwards here. I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show podcast. Unfiltered, no sugar added, talk radio. The free-range human show of choice. Your daily dose of reality radio. Most incendiary show in the mornings on these airwaves right here on 103.9 FM WYAB. The realest show on radio. Have I said that already? If not, I said it again. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. I am live 2 hours today, solo, in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios right here at the lovely Cotton Exchange Plaza out here in Florida, Mississippi. Fighting cancel culture one segment at a time right here every Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. on these airwaves, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com as well as on the TuneIn app and Alexa. If you are not listening live or if you can't listen to the whole show, you want to go back and check it out, you missed anything, follow the Clay Edwards Show podcast, Podbean, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. It pushes out everywhere. Just go search Clay Edwards Show. I was getting my hair did yesterday at the barbershop, and shout out to my barber, Jonathan Boone. And I met a fella in there, and he said, man, I heard about your show. How do I listen? I said, you got an iPhone? He's like, yeah. I said, let me see it. There's a little purple app. It comes on all iPhones. It says podcast on it. Go to that. Hit search. Type in my name. But put show at the end. Clay Edwards Show. It'll pop up. Hit follow. And you'll get a notification every time we upload a show. It's that easy. If you got an Android, I think there's a Google podcast. I don't have Android. I like Android. I'm not one of these pick a side people. I like them both. All right. Question of the day. Let's have a little fun with the question of the day. We're going to get into the Trump stuff and all kind of stuff this morning. But I was just thinking on the way in. Most overrated band of all time. Band that everybody just pretends to like, but they're really like, this band just ain't very good. I'm going to start it off. I'm going to shot across the bow here. The Beatles. Beatles suck. I said it. I mean, I get it. I mean, they revolutionized. Elvis had already revolutionized. The Beatles sucked. I just still don't like the Beatles. None of them. None of their solo stuff. None of their stuff. None of it. Maybe it's just my age. Maybe Gen Xers just don't like the Beatles. But I don't get it. It's just they're just a boy band with instruments, as far as I'm concerned. All right, question of the day. Who is the most overrated band of all time? Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text line. The phone line, 601-879-0002. Y'all wasted no time. Unknown texter, you are 100% correct. The Beatles suck. Roger says, U2. Can't disagree with Roger either. U2 is a terrible band. Sean says, I was just texting the Beatles. Corey says, the Eagles. I can't disagree with that either, man. A lot of those 70s classic rock bands, they're just not that good. Another band that has one good album, but the rest of their whole catalog is terrible, is Chicago. Have you ever gone to see Chicago in concert? I didn't know it was snooze fest. I didn't know I was going to watch a brass quartet. Like, play the ballads, which I love a good ballad, but they're not very fun live. Like Chicago, another very overrated band minus one good album in the 80s. Everything prior to that, terrible. Everything since then, terrible. All right, We got some more answers here. Man, I tell you, we had a spot with y'all this morning. I don't know if I've ever got this many texts in the first 5 minutes of the show. Unknown texture, Lennon. We talking about John Lennon? We'll lump that in with the Beatles. Unknown texture. Elizabeth says, Dave Matthews Band. Look, I'm just not a jam band fan. I don't dislike it. It just ain't for me. I've tried. I gave jam bands a fair chance for me to be a fan. Same with techno music. A lot of people that like jam bands also like techno music, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think people who, I'm just going to say it, people who enjoy doing drugs tend to like jam bands and techno. If you feel attacked, it's not my fault. It just is what it is. I'm not saying you still like doing drugs. I'm just saying at some point you probably did. I as well enjoyed doing my share of illicit things, but I just never could get into jam bands or techno. Oh, let's see here. Man, you guys are on fire this morning. My phone has never gone off like this in the show. Roger backs it up. He goes, about to ruffle some feathers here, but widespread panic sucks too. The Grateful Dead. No, not Smashing Pumpkins. They got that one good album, don't they? Somebody just said, the Beatles suck as a white trash take. I'm 43, by the way. Aerosmith is overrated. No, we're going to fight. Aerosmith may be the greatest American rock band of all time. My buddy Steve Robertson with Gene's Page, big Mississippi State writer. Steve's take on Aerosmith, we've had this conversation. The greatest American rock band of all time. I can't argue it. I can't make an argument against it, but I can make some arguments for other bands. I mean, Motley Crue. Say what you want, say what you will. They have survived a long time. Now, they don't have the hits across the decades like Aerosmith, and I think that's what sets Aerosmith apart. Aerosmith had hits on the radio all the way up to the mid-2000s. From the early 70s to the mid-2000s, Aerosmith had new music being hits on the radio. It's hard to argue that. It really is. Well, let's see here. Well, I guess we'll just do this whole first segment on this. Now, look, somebody's just messing with me here. Somebody said Poison. Poison, one of the greatest American rock bands of all time, too. Hunter says, when you two, yeah, look, people are still salty over this. Hunter says, when you two randomly showed up in everyone's iPhone and you couldn't delete it back in 2014. Yeah, you two, it's just, South Park made a great episode about Bono actually just being a piece of feces disguised as a human being, and I can't argue that. Daryl also says Nirvana. I will say this about Nirvana. It's aged better than I thought it would. I hated Nirvana when it first came out, other than the Teen Spirit song. Because I grew up in the 80s, the big hair bands, and for a long time we said Nirvana killed hair bands, but in hindsight, hair bands killed hair bands when it just got more ridiculous and more ridiculous and more ridiculous and more watered down. But I don't know that Nirvana killed hair bands, but I will say it aged better than I thought it would. Let's take a call here real quick. Hey, good morning. You're on there.
Clay, you ready to fight me, man?
I am. If you're calling in to say Poison is the worst band, I am dropping these headphones.
They might be two, but Guns N' Roses is number one.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'm just not. I mean, the Patience was good. Appetite for Destruction might have been it, but after maybe it was all the publicity. I don't know. But Guns N' Roses and probably Poison, buddy.
No.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Hey, look, you play guitar. I don't. I can't. You're allowed to have your opinion. I can't argue.
Doesn't mean just because I play guitar doesn't mean I have good taste. It's just my taste.
I got it, brother. I'm just messing with you. Have a good one, RLD.
All right, Clay. Take it easy.
Peace. Now, Guns N' Roses, you can't make it. Maybe I'm confusing popular with good, but I do like Guns N' Roses. I paid a lot of money for my Guns N' Roses tickets in September. I was late on my rent because of Guns N' Roses tickets. But I'm going with my landlord, so it was like, you want my company, I'm going to have to be late on rent. They put on a heck of a show. They had 3 great albums. 4 if you consider Use Your Illusion 2 albums. I liked Use Your Illusion. I saw Guns N' Roses in Biloxi in what would it have been, 90 or 91 on the Use Your Illusion tour at the peak of their insanity. My mom took me and my buddy Greg Clark down there. I've told the story on the radio before. Soundgarden on the Bad Moto Finger, whatever that album was called, was the opening act. So I got to see Soundgarden at their peak also as a 13, 14-year-old kid. That was pretty cool. My mom, I tell you, God bless her, and my dad, they really let me go to a bunch of concerts that I probably shouldn't have at a way younger age than I probably should have. My 12th birthday, and somebody said Kiss too on the Guns and Gear text line as being overrated. And, I can't argue it. Kiss's music, it's hit and miss at best. But their live show, it makes up for it. let me finish the story. Kiss, my 12th birthday, the Hot in the Shade tour. That's when they were wearing girl makeup, not black and white makeup. The Jackson Coliseum. I can't remember who opened that show. But anyway, Kiss. And I got to sit with, and keep in mind, 12 years old, that's 1989. Jackson, Mississippi, the peak of hair metal pandemonium. Stevie Blaze, Lillian and Axe, one of my absolute all-time heroes, rock guitar heroes. Most underrated bands of all time, Lillian and Axe. We can play that game too. We can do underrated bands too if y'all want to. I think Lillian and Axe is the most underrated band of all time. I got to sit with Stevie Blaze, the whole Kiss concert. I was more excited about getting to sit with Stevie at that point in my life because I was kind of at the peak of Lillian's fame too. They had music videos on MTV and stuff and all over the radio. I was more excited about that than I was actually seeing Kiss, but my mom was in the hospital for some surgery at that point. And my dad took me and dropped me off on my 12th birthday, August 17th, 1989, Jackson Coliseum for Kiss. But fast forward a little bit, me, Chip Matthews, my buddy Marvell, several other folks all went and saw, we did a rock and roll weekend one time. We went and saw Kiss in New Orleans on a Friday night or a Saturday. It was Friday night. We saw Kiss in New Orleans. We drove straight through Jackson, saw Kid Rock in Memphis at the Pyramid. Then, on the way home, Dale Earnhardt dies in the Daytona 500, all in one weekend. But at the Kiss concert, man, I passed out. Not because I was drunk. I passed out because, frankly, their music is just, it ain't for me. Let's take a call. Hey, brother, you on there?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, Derek, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Kiss sucks in my opinion.
Yeah, I saw your text. I was about to go back and read it. I couldn't remember who sent it, but yeah.
Well, but I'm gonna give Gene Simmons credit, even though I can't stand him. I'm gonna give him credit about something. Do you remember he caused controversy after one of those Grammy Awards where he said nobody on that stage is earning an award because they don't have any musical or instrumental talent? Yeah. I agree with what he said on that one. Do you remember that?
I do.
They ended up banning him from it, didn't they?
Yeah, he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't wrong at all.
You could definitely make an argument for it. I mean, look, I love hip-hop. I mean, I'll be the first to say it. I mean, like, up to a certain point, a lot of this new stuff I just can't do. But I think that's because I've aged out of the message of hip-hop. But, I mean, I love going back and listening to everything from my childhood.
So when he did an interview about it, he went on, he said, man, and he said something that you won't even hear a black man to say. He's like, man, they disrespect all the talent that came before them with this garbage they got now. And I think they end up banning him from the award shows or whatever. But he made a good point. He said nobody on that stage deserved a Grammy. I think it was the Grammys because they don't have any instrumental talent. And I have to agree with him. And I tell you another band that sucks real quick. Jesse and the Rippers from
What band?
Jesse and the Rippers from Full House.
Oh, well, when you said Jesse, I was thinking about No, I can't remember. There was a movie. They made 2 movies about it. Was it Jesse? Anyway, I can't remember. I'll remember it during the break.
But no, I said Jesse and the Rippers because they kept on trying to push that on that show. So I guess they finally realized it was a bad idea, then they finally got away from it.
Yeah, I remember that for sure, brother. All right, Derek. Appreciate it, brother.
All right.
All right. Let's take one more call before we go to our break. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, this Rod.
Hey,
man,
what's
you
up?
Can't, I'm trying to get on 2-way with that dude that got PSTD, that Derek. Oh, I can't stand that dude. Hey, now you tell me, it's a lot of guys that they got instrumental talent. They can play the flute. You see, Big Girl, she played the flute. What's that girl from Minnesota?
Are we still talking about music?
Yeah, we still talking about music. You know, Big Girl, she what's her name from Minnesota? She wear that purple all the time. She know how to play the flute. It's a lot of people know how to play the drum. Tell Derek to get his butt up there and play some of them, make some of them beats. I bet she can't do it.
Now, I will say this.
It takes time to make them beats now.
Hold on, Rod. Hold on. Now, drums and flute are a musical instrument.
I know it's a lot of them that got them. They just don't rap and stuff. They know they actually went to school for music or they played some type of instrument.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, there's a certain level, there's a certain point where I can get behind a lot of this stuff, you know, hip hop and all that winning awards. Some of this newer stuff just trash.
Yeah. I'm just saying because, you know, it takes talent to get on them beat machines and make beats. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about Lizzo?
Yeah, Izzo. That's what I'm talking about, Izzo. She know how to play the clarinet. I mean, the flute. That's a musical instrument. You know, sometimes Derek just let his mouth overload his ass. He just be talking just to hear himself talk, man. them kids got talent. It just ain't what the talent he like. That's all I want to say.
Hey, Rod, thanks, brother. Have a great day.
All right, thanks.
Let's take a break real quick. Come back. You know what? We're going to carry this on for a little bit. We got 2 hours this morning. I know y'all want to talk about the Trump stuff. We're going to get into it. I got some other stuff, too. But I like having fun, too. And this is fun. Let's enjoy that while we got it. We'll be right back on 103.9 FM WYAB. This is The Clay Edwards Show. Breaking rules when necessary. I guess that's what we're doing this morning, huh? Talking about music on conservative talk radio instead of politics. Y'all know, man, we got a lot of time to be mad about politics, and we need to be. We need to be fired up. Every now and then, we can have a little fun. I like to have a good time. If y'all don't know anything else about me, just know Clay Edwards likes to have a good time. You can say whatever else you want. Most of it's probably true. But you got to give me that. Hey, real quick, man, I got a text from Miss Katie Stonington yesterday. And she wanted to make sure you guys knew that Stonington Farms is going to be up making a delivery up here to the Jackson area. They're going to be at 3 different locations, Brandon, Ridgeland, and Florence on Friday, May 19th. They're also having a special this month on their ground beef that I keep talking about. Only $5.99. And Mike, you texted me yesterday about the Stonington Farm stuff. I didn't get off work till late. I will give you a call and give you my personal testimony on Stonington Farm. But look, man, grass-fed, grass-finished, 100%. Also, Mike actually called Dr. Stonington and had a conversation with him about the vaccines that they put in their cows. And like I've been telling y'all, it is mRNA free. That is very important, guys. I mean, I don't have to tell y'all this. Y'all know. If you listen to this station, you know our thoughts and opinions on the vaccine stuff and mRNA and the dangers of all that. And I don't mean to make meat political. I'm just making a point. Grass-fed, grass-finished, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, mRNA-free, locally sourced beef from right here in Mississippi, right down south of us here in Perkinston, Mississippi. Go to stoningtonfarm.com. You can select view our cuts, I believe is how it's labeled on their website. And you can see all the different cuts available and the pricing. And again, they're going to be up here on Friday, May 19th, 3 different convenient Jackson area locations, Brandon, Florence, Brandon, Florence, and Ridgeland. Give Miss Katie, you'll go to the website, her phone number's there. Call her, put your order in. You can get everything from 1 steak, 1 pound of hamburger meat, all the way up to a whole cow. That's right. And several of y'all have done it, and you let them know that you heard it here on the Clay Edwards Show, so I so greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Stonington Farm. That's Stonington with 2 N's, stoningtonfarm.com. All right, Derek's calling back to defend his position, I believe. Let's hear what Derek has to say. Hey, brother, you're on there.
Hey, isn't it amazing when people call in and prove your point? You know what I mean? It's like Mark Twain said, it's better for people to think you're stupid than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. You try to defend hip-hop artists, first thing pops in your head is Lizzo. Show me one song where Lizzo plays the clarinet. Do you know of any, Clay?
Well, in defense of my position on this, I don't know a Lizzo song.
Me neither.
I just know she's a fat girl that keeps trying to tell us that body positivity is healthy.
Okay, see, well, you took the words right out of my mouth. First of all, every man that she's done that disgusting twerking, or heck, she probably twerk on the clarinet. I don't know, but every man she's publicly done that, they publicly rejected her, right, and have tried to cancel. But the minute she tried to do that to Chris Evans, what happened? They said, "Whoa, back up! Captain America's off limits." Am I right or wrong?
I didn't. You're right, but I didn't know about that. I really try not to keep up with too much of that nonsense.
I don't either. But again, like I said, that was a terrible example, Lizzo. It's a prime example who don't need to be recognized for any type of talent, right? You proved my point, dude. I was gonna say whipping Nene. That was the stupidest thing I ever heard. But hey, you proved your point for me, so thank you. I'm glad you corrected me by actually proving my point. Have a good day, Clay.
Hi, brother. Be good. Fists are flying. I love a good hot topic like this one. I went and this is going so well. I went over to the Save Jackson page and I asked the question there: most overrated band / artist of all time. So if you want to get in on the online mudslinging and debate, you can do it on the Save Jackson Facebook page. I actually changed the header photo to my personal ticket stub from Metallica, August 19th, 1989. But you know what? So the Kiss concert must have been my 13th birthday, not my 12th. Because I don't remember seeing Kiss and then seeing Metallica 2 days later. So anyway, I've got a ton of my old ticket stubs on there. I've got a ton of non-political stuff. I've got a bunch of old concert flyers from Far Jackson that used to hang up at Bebop and stuff. Just go click photos on the Save Jackson Facebook page. It says Save JXN by Clay Edwards. First off, hit follow while you're there, or like or whatever, and just click the photos. I mean, been doing this page for 4+ years. I used to have this girl that helped me do it, and she ran off the tracks somewhere and got all. Anyway, I digress. I had somebody helping me do it. She was actually good at posting all that stuff. She don't help me do it no more. But it's good. It's a bunch of good stuff on there. A lot of great retro photos going all the way back to the 40s, 50s, and earlier from Jackson. So let's see here. Wow. Somebody is angry this morning on the Guns and Gear text line. They said Nirvana, Poison, and Metallica sucks too. What? Our first country act, Morgan Wallen. Unknown texture here. Unknown textures, send me your names if y'all been texting this morning so I can put y'all in, lock y'all in the phone. But unknown texture here says Dave Matthews Band, Pearl Jam, and Morgan Wallen. The Morgan Wallen stuff, I get it. But I'm telling you, I had a really good time at that concert. He's got a few good songs. I mean, he really does. I mean, if you like that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Unknown texter. Y'all have covered most of the Sirius XM channels except for Fish. I don't even know what the heck that was, but every time I run through that channel, it sucks. Yeah, some people have actually said Fish. I just hadn't got to it yet. That's another one. I don't get it. I mean, I tried to give jam bands a fair shake, and a ton of my friends love jam bands. Lane texts in and said people who like jam bands also were first in line to get their COVID shots. Shot fired. Let's see, unknown texture. GNR had some good songs, but Axl's voice sounds pretty awful. Listening to him on several songs, I loved them, though. I put them in an overrated category. So here's the thing. Some people can't sing, but they sing great in their bands. They sing their songs great. That makes sense? Like, I don't want to hear Axl singing Chicago. Stuff of that nature. Man, have y'all seen that video of Axl Rose doing November Rain on piano, just acoustically, basically, at Lisa Marie Presley's funeral? Surely the video was not intended to be released. It is wretched. I mean, it really made me second guess buying tickets to that Biloxi concert. I would say do yourselves a favor and go listen to it, but it maybe do yourselves a favor and don't go listen to it. But it's on YouTube if you want to. Derek says he's surprised that no one has said Nickelback. Well, here's the thing: people like to hate on Nickelback, but Nickelback is really a good band. I said it. Nickelback does not suck. And if you ever see them live, they put on a rock show. Pyro, fire. I know pyro and fire are the same thing. Nickelback brings it. They got some hits too. How You Remind Me. And their first album was called Leader of Men, and the title track was called Leader of Men. I think that was it. Am I right about that? Anyway, their first album was really good. I mean, it was heavy. May have been another band that I'm thinking of, Leader of Men. But let's see here. Unknown Texture said, I asked my 14-year-old son who is the most overrated band or artist, and he said Eminem. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Yeah. Look, again, I'm not gonna qualify it. I love hip hop music to a certain point, timeline wise, and Eminem was really great at what he did, but he hasn't done anything good in a long time. I think rappers just kind of age out. You know, when he got to crying about Trump and all that, just so he could be the white guy in the rap world, he had to prove that he was virtuous. I can't even go back and listen to his old stuff anymore. It just sounds like a frail old man screaming at the clouds. Let's take a break real quick. We ran over these last two segments. We'll be right back live on 103.9 FM WYAB. We're going to get to all the culture war, politics, Trump stuff in hour two. We're going to talk a little music for the rest of this hour. Go ahead and text me in your most underrated bands of all time. Overrated band and underrated band. Get in on both of them. 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text line. If you want to call in, 601-879-0002. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. When necessary. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We are live here in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios. This segment, the Guns and Gear text line has been on fire. So how about we do Guns and Gear right now? Hey, I just shared this yesterday on my Facebook. They got it on theirs too. 223 guys. They got some PMC 223 55 grain FMJ ammo. 1,000 rounds. 1,000 rounds. $599.99. Great ammo deals all the time out there at Guns and Gear, as well as, they're the home of No Limit ammo. Their gun of the day yesterday was a semi-auto ZPAP M70 series sporting rifle. It looks kind of like an AK-47. Got big AK vibes about it. And $949.99. I mean, a good gun ain't cheap, and a cheap gun ain't good. Don't be scared to spend a little money and get the gun you want. They also got a Ruger Red Hawk 44 Magnum. Pre-owned, Dirty Harry looking gun. Big old long 38. $749.99. And here's something, I bought something very similar to this the other day. They got the Mossberg Shockwave 410. Only $469.99. That's a good looking gun. Black tactical pump shotgun. Blow the bad guy clear through the other end of the house. If you need to. But make sure you got some cameras on, because I want to see the video. And you may need it to stay out of jail if it happens in Hinds County. Anyway, shop them online, gunsandgearms.com. Or go out there and see them in person, man. They got some great guys working out there. I'm talking about knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. These guys live, breathe, and eat guns all day, every day. They also do gunsmithing and Cerakoting. And don't forget, they buy guns too. So if you're in a pinch, you will need to sell your gun, don't worry about going to a pawn shop and having to deal with all that and feeling less than because you had to pawn something. Just go out there and sell it to the Guns and Gear. Trade it in on a new gun. Whatever you need to do. They'll take care of you out there. They'll give you fair market value, and you won't regret it. Guns and Gear. Highway 51 North in Gluckstadt, right there at Yandale Road, right next door to the all-new Booze Smokehouse Gluckstadt location. I get that. Whatever barbecue place is next to them gets a lot of free pub on the show because Clay likes guns and barbecue. There was Little Willie's was there. I'm friends with those guys too. Buddy of mine's parents on Little Willie's, and I work right next door to the Booze in Brandon. Can't go wrong either way. Good barbecue, good food's good food. You get good food and guns out there at Guns and Gear. All right, let's take a call. Hey, good morning. You're on there.
What's happening, Clay?
What's up, brother?
Not much. You brought back memories. You said with Little Willie, they used to have them thickest hamburgers.
Man, that and their smoked pork chops with that red rub they use.
Oh, yes.
You know what? If anybody wants to buy a good rub, I know that's gotten very popular. There's a bunch of great ones out there. One of the OG really good ones is the one you go right out there, Little Willie's, and buy. It's their rub. It is good.
I heard it. Cinderella.
Underrated?
I think they were.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Cinderella's a great band. And, Tom is married to my buddy Kurt's sister. She was a bartender at the dock. Yeah.
Wow. And another group, Extreme.
Oh, Extreme
is
great.
Right.
Nuno
they just had a new song come out. Yeah, they just had a new song come out. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. I listened to it the other day. Yeah, Nuno Betancourt is one of the most underrated great guitarists of all time, especially heavy metal guitar, rock guitarists.
They come in right there at the end because I think what killed a lot of the long hair, they started doing too many ballads.
Yeah, well, they just started looking just over the top ridiculous too.
Yeah, everybody was trying to copy and follow. It had so many. What was that? Kicks and what was it, White Lion?
Yeah, now Kicks is actually just a good straight rock and roll band. They're fixing to play their last show ever here in a few weeks up there. They're from Maryland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to retire. But Kicks, you go back and listen to Kicks, man. They're actually just a good, straightforward rock and roll band. To me, they were more like AC/DC kind of.
Yeah, I always loved it when they'd come out and throw the cereal out to the crowd.
Yeah.
That was back when they used to have good shows come to Jackson.
Absolutely. Who's your most overrated band?
Overrated? Ooh, I'd have to say Van Halen.
Wow. Not too many people step into those waters. Interesting. All right.
But they swapped it. Eddie just had the ego. I mean, he was good. I loved the early stuff for David, some of the Sammy, but it just, I got off into Metallica and stuff like that, heavier and Tool. But Van Halen, to me, they were just, a lot of the bands, to me, anytime they try to come out with albums, and AC/DC, I put them in there, they just like, dude, that's enough.
Yeah, now, look, AC/DC is on my bucket list of bands to see, but if you've heard one AC/DC song, you have absolutely heard them all. That's
it. That's exactly it. They just changed the words up and a little bit of the rhythm. And rather than that, that's same tempo.
Yeah, another band I'm just sitting here thinking about that I can make an argument for being a little overrated. At least all of their stuff from the late 80s up is the Rolling Stones have not put out anything good in a really long time.
Yeah, and Aerosmith. I'd throw them in there with it too.
I can't roll Aerosmith under the bus, man. They're one of the few bands to have hits from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. That's hard to do.
But I don't know. It just, well, and I'll tell you another reason that got me against some of these racing around here. They play the same songs. I mean, there's other songs off that album. Just because they didn't top 40 don't mean you don't play it.
Yeah, which album?
Just any of the groups, any of the albums out. I mean,
I got you.
Like there's songs on the other albums that they might not have made top 40, but if they'd have played it, it might have made top 40.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of the B-sides of those bands were better than the hits.
Because I remember when I first heard The Wall and went and got it, I thought that was new stuff, and that stuff had been out a long time ago.
Come on, Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd? Yeah. Yes. I love a lot of older Pink. I've actually gone back with YouTube and all come out and went and put up a lot of bands that you never heard of around here. And it was just like, wow, those dudes are good.
Yep. Chris, appreciate it, brother.
All right, brother. Be safe. Have a blessing.
You too. Safe. Hey, another band. Shout out to Baby Fred. Storage 24, local band, regional band nowadays. You know, they're playing all over the place. Storage 24 is extremely underrated. If you like good hard rock, check out Storage 24. They're probably leaning even a little more to the metal side of things. They call themselves fusion rock fusion, something like that. To me, it's just hard rock. It teeters on being heavy metal, which I like. So check out Storage 24. You won't be disappointed. Let me see some of these texts here. We're getting to the end of this hour here. Hunter, just to clear up that gun that I was talking about had AK-47 vibes. Hunter texted in and says it is an AK, and the Ruger is a .44 Magnum. Got it. Let's see here. Unknown texter. The Beatles suck. Oh yeah. He goes that first. Let me see. Does everyone subscribe? Dude said the last three Eminem albums were strong. That's what I was trying to get to there. I don't know. Personal. This is all very, very opinionated here. You know, it's all up for debate. It's all personal opinions. Jake from Madison says Blackberry Smoke is very underrated. Best Southern rock band around. Blackberry Smoke is an extremely underrated band. And I don't know that you would say Whiskey Myers is underrated. But as far as not being played on the radio, unknown, mainstream unknown, Whiskey Myers, Cody Jinks. I mean, he's got multi-platinum albums and hits and yada, yada, yada. But, again, no real mainstream success. But he sells out everywhere he plays, so he's not underrated to his fans. But, yeah, the Blackberry Smoke, that's a show I'd like to see. Blackberry Smoke, Cody Jinks, and Whiskey Myers on one show. That would bring the house down. Whiskey, and yeah, Southern rock. And I know Cody's a little more OG outlaw country, but he's got some stuff too. I love Cody Jinks. I will drive far and wide to see Cody Jinks. Rick says that Neil Young, totally overrated. Absolutely. Let's take a break real quick, come back, land the plane for hour one, and we'll get into some news in hour two. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Breaking rules when necessary. Let's save an ad read for the next segment, and let's jump back into this conversation to kind of end the hour here and end this topic. Tim says on the Guns and Gear text line, "Burn It to the Ground" by Nickelback. We need to take that attitude against the libtards. Heck yeah, brother. Lane texts in and he makes a good point here. He says Iron Maiden. I wouldn't say they're underrated, but you just never hear about them anymore. And as far as I know, those guys are still filling stadiums. They are, man. They've just transitioned into being a mega touring band. I mean, that's, and a lot of these, they refer to them as catalog artists. People who aren't really making out new relevant music, which I think Iron Maiden still puts out new music, and it does very well, within their fan base and overseas. But yeah, in America anyway, definitely I would say underrated. Somebody just texted in. Billy said, "What's the Guns of Gear text line number?" It is 769-241-1944. Rick says, Neil Young, totally overrated. Who is the big fat woman I keep seeing all over the internet wearing? That would be Lizzo. Yep, that would be Lizzo. Tony says, U2, most overrated band ever. Unknown texter, Daniel says, Green Day is awful. Also Luke Bryan, as far as overrated. Yeah, man, Green Day was terrible. Jamie says the Cranberries and Four Non-Blondes. Are we saying they're underrated or overrated? I kind of like both of them. Four Non-Blondes I thought was really, really good. At least that one song. Dagwood says, I don't know about overrated, but underrated bands, but most overplayed is Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks. That's a good point there. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.